What's up guys, Syiler here, and I've got kind of an overview slash guide on the Hallow's End event. A lot of you have been asking me to cover it, and normally I don't cover these kind of things because in a sense they're very sort of basic, straightforward, but there might be things that you don't know about, or you might be stuck in a certain area, or you just might not be interested until I tell you. So you're going to be able to pick up a few things such as the Headless Horseman's mount. This is a ground and flying mount, pretty cool horse. We're also going to be able to get the Sinister Squashling companion pet. And on top of that, the creepy crate, and I'll tell you how to get all these things within the video. On top of that, you'll be able to pick up some easy achievement points, maybe a title, and some not so easy achievement points. So let's go. So the first thing we're going to be able to look at or do is the Headless Horseman dungeon. If you go to your dungeon finder and under type, you'll be able to queue for the Headless Horseman. And this will give you the loot-filled pumpkin once a day. You'll only be able to get the loot-filled pumpkin once, and that is where the mount comes from. So you'll have one go at getting the mount each day. Now you can queue for this on alts and have a go on your alt. If you get it on your alt, then you'll have it across your whole account because of bind on account mounts. But you do need to be at least level 89 to queue for this. So if you don't have any 89 plus alts, you're not going to be able to queue for this at all. So make sure you're level 89 or above before you even queue for this. And you're also going to be able to pick up some level 90, 470 item level rings. So if you're new to 90 or you're using like a blue dungeon ring, then this is a nice place to replace those rings. You can farm him for the rings, you can queue multiple times to get the ring that you need. But you can only get the loot-filled pumpkin once a day, which the rings don't come from the loot-filled pumpkin. The loots come from the boss kill itself. So the rings that you're going to be able to pick up is a healing ring, spirit in and crit, a melee strength ring, which is strength, crit and haste, a agility ring, which is agility, hit, crit, and a caster ring, which is intellect, hit, haste. Unfortunately, no tanking ring for the tanks, so not going to be really worth you queuing to do this unless you want some off-spec gear or you're doing it for your daily loot-filled pumpkin. The stuff that you can get from the loot-filled pumpkin is the Horseman's Sinister Slicer, which is a 470 agility one-hander, and the Horseman's Horrific Hood, which is a strength helm, a DPS strength helm, and the Horseman's Reins, which is apparently on a 0.5% drop chance from the loot-filled pumpkin. That's the mount. But I believe it's higher than that. Now, that's according to Wowhead, but I'm sure that got buffed at some point. But don't quote me on that one. There's also, you're going to be able to get the Sinister Squashling, the Hallowed Helm, and a chance on the Flying Broom. The Flying Broom is only a temporary mount that you're only going to be able to use it during the Hallow's End event. But it is pretty cool. It is an instant cast mount. There's no cast timer on it. So that's pretty cool. You'll also have you might get a flimsy mask instead of a rare item, so that's kind of the boogie prize. Now the Headless Horseman fight's fairly simple. It has 3 phases. Phase 1 is just kill him and his head will pop off, you DPS his head, and then it'll attach back to his body, which will cause him to HP reset on the body. Then he'll start doing this con flag, which will CC someone in the party. And then when you kill him again, his head will pop off, DPS his head. And then the final phase, he'll do con flag and he'll also summon ads. Same thing pretty much, pretty easy, unless your tank doesn't pick up the ads, which I've had happen before. Apart from that, pretty easy dungeon to do, and as I said, you can farm this for the rings if that's what you're interested in. So with that out the way, we're going to be taking a look at the next thing that's unique to the event, and that is the Creepy Crate. So the Creepy Crate comes from a quest chain within Hallow's End. You're going to be able to pick this up from Stormwind or Orgrimmar, depending on if you're Horde or Alliance. I'll show you the Alliance sort of where you pick it up. It's just outside the gates here, and it's inside the city for Horde, I believe. And the quest is called A Friend in Need, and that's called that for both Horde and Alliance. Fairly basic quest chain. I'm not going to cover it in too much detail. It's literally just go talk to this guy, go kill this guy, go find this guy, go collect this item. You know, the very basic quest chain. And at the end of it, you'll get a Creepy Crate pet. So that's only available during the Hallow's End event. You're not going to be able to get it anywhere else unless you buy it off the auction house. So definitely worth picking that up if you are interested in the pet. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the achievements. Now, if you do complete Hallowed by Thy Name, you will get the Hallowed title. So there's a few achievements. The first is to basically just loot one of the pumpkins within an inn, and you'll get the first achievement. And from that you'll get a handful of candy, which will give you some candy, and also like it'll give you a trick or treat and also some like random candy. Keep hold of some of it though. You might also get a mask as well, along with toothpicks. So these items are pretty cool and something you want to keep hold of for the time being. The next one is bring me the head of, oh wait, and then we should have got that before if you would have killed the headless horseman. The next one is a sparkling smile, and you can get that from the handful of candies, or you can buy it for 2 tricky treats from your vendor, which is either in Stormwind or Undersitter, depending on your faction. And once used, you'll get the achievement, and you also have a good clean mouth. It's good to clean your mouth when you've been eating shit. Oh, not that candy, not. God, you guys taking things the wrong way. Next achievement is Nerd Rage, and this is to get kills while under the influence of the Nerd Candy. So you can buy this for 2 treats, and that'll give you 5 candy. The best place to do this is in a battleground. Obviously, just queue up for a BG unless you've got an alliance or horde friend that is willing to help you by letting you kill them multiple times. But it doesn't have to be done at once. It can be done throughout the course of the event as long as you've got the candy activated. So pretty easy achievement. The next is the Masquerade, and this one's a little bit difficult because you can't use them on yourself. You have to get someone else to use them, and they're not tradable, so you have to either convince someone, buy them off someone, or kind of what I did was I'd use mine on them if they'd use theirs on me, kind of thing. So that was the easiest way to do it, basically, just share the items. So you do have to find someone who has them or who is willing to buy one. It costs 2 candy for 1 wand. So if you've got a friend or a guildie who's willing to just use a bit of their candy to buy one, I'm sure it won't be too big of a deal. But you do need to have one of each used on yourself to get the achievement. The next is Trick or Treats of Azeroth, and this is literally to go to every single inn within Azeroth, Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor, and Outland. You don't need to do Northrend, Cataclysm, or Pandaria for the achievement, just the old 3 zones. I'm not going to show you where all these come from because it'd just take way too long. Bloody phone trolls. But yeah, so you go to all the inns. If you're stuck on any, the achievement tells you where to find them, but if you're stuck on any, I'd recommend Wowhead. And if you're really stuck, leave a comment and I'll help you out with that. The next one is Out With It, and this requires you to eat a certain amount of candy till you're sick, basically. Now, I'd recommend picking up between 15 to 20 candy before you do this. It's very random, but just keep using the candy one after another as soon as the GCD is finished. Just keep eating the candy until you're sick. So as you see, we eat 1, 2, and we're sick. So very easy, very basic achievement. You just need some spare tricky treats. Eat them and you'll be sick eventually. The next achievement on the list is the Saviour of Hallow's End. And this is basically to go to any of the starting areas for your faction. So you can go to Brill for a lighter horde, you can go to Goldshire for Alliance. You know, you've got all these different mini hubs that we can go to. You can go to Razor Hill. You know, all the starting zones for your faction will have the event taking place, and basically what will happen is the Headless Horseman will attack, and there'll be a new quest available from one of the NPCs, and it'll basically just be to defend off the Headless Horseman by putting out the fire and then killing the shade of the Headless Horseman. And then you'll get the achievement for saving the day once you hand in the quest. Once again, pretty easy achievement, pretty straightforward, nothing too difficult there. The next achievement on the list is the Rotten Hallow, and this is basically to disrupt the Horde Alliance Hallow's End and to save your own Hallow's End. Now there'll be 4 quests that you can pick up. These are all dailies, and these are basically to clean out your city of the stink bombs, to go to the bonfire, to attack the opposite faction city with stink bombs, and to attack their Wicker Man, basically. Pretty easy achievements. You might, if you're on a PvP server, you might run into a bit of PvP. Usually people take advantage of this to do a bit of world PvP. But apart from that, it shouldn't be too difficult to do at high level. You might struggle at a lower level, probably will struggle at a lower level. Apart from that, it shouldn't be too hard, especially if you're able to fly. Level 60 plus should be okay because you can fly. For example, cleaning up in Stormwind is literally just to find a stink bomb, like gas cloud, and just use a stink bomb remover on it, and simple as that. I'm cycling through all the quests here just so you can see what they are and what they do basically. And you will get tricky treats from these, so you can use these towards the masks or the wands or anything else that you need from the Hallow's End event basically. If only the mount was purchasable. If they made the mount purchasable for like a crazy amount of tricky treats, that wouldn't be too bad. The next one is Check Your Head, and I'd recommend doing this along with the Nerd Rage achievement because it does require you to do PvP really. You have to put a pumpkin on a weighted jack-o'-lantern on each race's head. You get these from killing the Headless Horseman on his body. There'll be like 4 to 5 usually. And you can pick them up from there, and so if you run that 2 or 3 times, you should have enough to complete the achievement. The next achievement on the list is the final one, I believe. I think we've only got one more to cover. And I think that is the Sinister's Calling. So this is probably one of the harder ones to achieve because it's more RNG based. You need the Sinister Squashling and the Hallowed Helm. These can be gotten from your loot-filled pumpkin once a day, or you can buy them from the vendor outside or in your Stormwind or Undersitter, and these cost 150 tricky treats. So quite expensive. It'll cost you 300 for both if you need them for the achievement, and you do need both to complete the achievement. So that one's kind of a bit of a pain. You either need to grind a lot of candy or get very lucky. Now there are a couple of achievements not covered here, like a mask for all occasions, and that's basically to collect and equip each of the masks. And these are gotten from your handful of candies, or you can purchase them for 2 candy each from the vendor. And there's also the trick-or-treats from Pandaria, and the trick-or-treats from Northrend, and the trick-or-treats from Cataclysm. And that'll net you some extra achievement points as well, and that is the end of the Hallow's End event. So hopefully this has given you enough information to cover the whole Hallow's End event. I know it's not greatly detailed, but it doesn't really need to be. And once you complete the achievements, you'll get Syiler the Hallowed. Pretty cool. So hopefully you've enjoyed this overview. A lot of you have been asking me to do it, so I did it. So thanks for watching, guys. Ciao!